We are live. Super Bowl Sunday Part 2. The podcast is LFX Media. You can catch us on lfxmedia.live. You can catch us on my Facebook, The Rico Verdict. You can also catch us on my YouTube, LFX Media. What's going down, Custom Beat King?
Oh, I can't call it. Just a busy, busy day. Of course, we're still in the throes of our challenge for the month. No fried, no table salt. You
Mm-hmm.
know, and so far, so good, man. So far, so good. I feel like I'm starting to really feel the energy, man. It's kicking in
Yeah,
nice.
yeah.
I have noticed a weight decrease already,
Ooh,
even if it is a small one.
little
Uh,
something.
yeah, yeah, a little something, something, man. It was nice. Nice, man. I'm enjoying it.
Mm, without a doubt. I think we jumped the gun. We be excited to podcast. Get out here. We the content kings, of course. I
Yeah,
wanted to start exactly on the hour so we can have an exactly hour of power. But regardless, we here.
we here. And that's just bottom line. We're in
Hmm.
here. The
Actually,
return.
the return of Rico Sundays. We did a sound check earlier. Shout out TMG. Shout out Custom Beat King and myself. We made sure the sound was right. The return of Rico
Nice.
Sundays, and we'll speak on Rico Sundays basically because Rico Sunday started as a cover reveal for this here book, and this is the cover right here that you see on my torso. So having a cover reveal, you don't put your cover in social media anywhere. You save it and you want to make a grand appearance. And that's what we did. We have it recorded and actually on lfxmedia.live, it's looping continuously all of the
Yes,
Rico
it is.
Sundays. We have video on demand that offers you a chance to go in to different podcasts. We have Beat Talk by none other than the Custom Beat King talking about the beats. We have LFX Media, which is basically a conglomerate. Sometimes you might catch the four-headed monster,
Yeah,
Big
sometimes.
Cat, Antho, Rastic, and myself, the Podfather.
The Podfather is in the building.
Yeah, I saw someone took claim to the Podfather. I think it's one of the guys out of the Ringer, Bill
Hmm.
Simmons episode. I mean his podcast. But we're going to keep the Podfather. We might have to rumble about that name,
Yeah.
but definitely we.
Or the Pod Padre.
Padre. Yes, we can
The Pod
modify.
Padre.
We can modify and verify. Being in Texas is sixty
And it
percent
all runs in a line.
Hispanic.
Padre Podgy Carter.
Padre, and that's exactly what my great grandfather used to call me, Padre.
Oh,
Couldn't
see,
say
there you go.
he couldn't say Padre. He said Padre, or he called me Popcorn.
Nice. Nice.
Shout out to my granddad, great granddad, Judge. Rest with God, Judge Peacock.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so let's get right to it, brother. This is Super Bowl Sunday. This is part two. Me and Antho already podded. We just gonna pod all day.
All right. All right. We're here, man. We're here at least until the kickoff
Yeah, yeah,
of
absolutely.
the major shindig.
Yes, we
You
had
know,
a great podcast already this week,
excellent.
and we actually were able to make history in our pod. We actually were watching the game where LeBron James actually took the highest scores in NBA history, and we
Yeah.
podded during it and showed it to you,
All
and
time
had a
scorer.
all-time score. Um,
Man.
and and again, I'll reiterate that is not what makes him the greatest of all time. It's just icing on the cake.
It
Just
is.
icing on the cake.
It is. Quite. congratulations to the king
Mm-hmm.
for such a magnificent feat. You know, it's been a great feat, and I can't do nothing but tip my cap to the gentleman. He
Mm-hmm.
has sustained a very long and lucrative career, and just to be able to amass that amount of points and be in leader statistics in several categories
Mm-hmm.
as it stands. Because one thing about LeBron is that you have to understand that he's just not a scorer. He doesn't just have a scorer's mentality. He actually has a basketball IQ. As far as defensively, he's a primetime shot blocker. You know, premier defender when it comes to those things, especially on the fast break. That's where you see LeBron shine the most. He has a lot, like almost a highlight reel on that category alone. You try to catch a fast break on LeBron, you might want to think twice because he's coming like a freight train, and
Yeah, he gonna swat it.
he's gonna definitely swat it. He had one of the most key blocks in NBA Finals history when Iguodala thought he had a clean
Uh,
and free one. He thought he
yes.
had a clean and free one, but you could tell he kind of did a little, he felt a little bit of hesitation because he felt something coming, but
Mm-hmm.
I don't think he realized that it was actually the great one, LeBron James, behind him.
That's
But he probably should have known it because anybody that's played in the league for quite some time has to know that LeBron is coming to block a shot
oh
from
yeah,
behind.
yeah.
If there's
Uh,
any highlight he wants to have that one, and he wants to be able to block the shot. And
true
so
indeed.
that's just what it is. But salute to the king. It kind of like is ironic because they actually lost the game. They
Mm-hmm.
lost the game, but I have
Yeah,
uh, I have some optimism for them moving forward, man. You know what I mean? There's some optimism going down.
yeah. The season actually started off very shaky, very shaky. But midway through, um, we're looking at a Lakers team that could possibly make it to the play-ins. But
Mhm.
in my opinion, um, LeBron's legacy was solidified when he came back from the Warriors. Not saying that he did it single-handedly, but he definitely played a big part in that comeback. And you watch him backing guys down like, I don't have the best jumper in the league right now, but I bet you I could back these guys down and end up winning the
Oh,
game.
without
That's what
question,
happened.
without question, man. There's no question about it. I think that was timely and key on his end, and
Hmm.
yeah, he really just made it happen. He made it happen, and tip my cap to him.
Okay. I see quite a few people sharing and liking. We appreciate you guys. Sounds like some of your troops. I didn't recognize the names.
Absolutely, I've been in the wormhole a little bit here, sharing away.
Digging.
Yes.
Yes, sir. Doing it and doing it well. That's what we do. We're the
Mhm.
content kings. We're we are back. We're
Welcome
discussing.
back.
Yeah, we're discussing Super Bowl Sunday, but there's some other trending things that are going on that we're discussing as well. So that's what we do.
That's what we do.
And a lot of times, when you go into the metadata and the actual marketing of a podcast or any business, when you run your ads, you want to have a specific niche. Custom Beat King, you know what he does.
Absolutely. You know what I do.
he, he not only talks about beats, but he actually
Oh
beats.
yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. Beats it down. And
Yeah.
and with vigor. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
Absolutely. And get prepared because this 100 beats in 7 days
Mm.
is the charge is on and it begins today. So as soon as we get um, into the fold, yeah, Shawnee checking in from NYC. Shawnee Shine,
Okay. Shout
yes,
out.
South Bronx in the building.
Mm-hmm.
Fittingly, this is the golden year
Mm-hmm.
of hip hop. You know what I mean? The golden anniversary, if you will. And
Yes.
so, but yeah, the 7 beats. I mean, 7 days, 100 beats is going, and it starts today. As soon as we jump off, Podge, I'm actually going to start the process. Some of this will be documented throughout the week, just so you guys know. And we may post some of that footage up on LFX Media if you guys check it out on the Roku, Web TV, Amazon Fire. We will be in all of those realms, and we will make it do what it do. You
Let's
already
talk
know.
about let's talk about working on Sundays. Let's talk about work ethic, Pad. Let's throw some pointers out for these guys that think work starts Monday morning.
In this land, it does not. I'll be the first to let everybody know.
Mm-hmm.
We actually get it going daily and often, and we get it moving and we get it cracking. It's nothing short of 24 hours
Mm-hmm.
in a day, and how many hours of that day do you spend tending to the work at hand?
Big facts.
We spend quite a bit. I'm probably up at 4 o'clock every morning because I realized to maximize my potential throughout the day, I have to start early and I have to start often and I have to get to it and stick to it. You know what I mean? It's it's
Exactly.
it's it's a real thing. It's a tangible thing, and I really,
Mm-hmm.
really, really hope that everybody understands that you have 24 hours in a day, and the more
Mm-hmm.
that you maximize your day every day, you know what I mean? It doesn't matter whether it's a Saturday, it doesn't matter whether it's a Sunday or a holiday. We actually will stick in there and we'll get the job done. And
Mm-hmm.
so that's what these challenges are all about. This is extra on top of the work that we already do on a daily basis. You
For
know what I mean?
sure.
When we throw challenges out there, this is just something extra that we add on top because you can't grow unless you start to challenge yourself and get outside of your comfort zone. And as I mentioned a little earlier when I went live, just to make 10 beats in a day is a pretty strong effort. Pretty
Mm-hmm.
strong effort, if I may say so myself. So to be able to accomplish 100 in 7 days,
Hmm.
that's going to be quite a challenge for me. But I expect to receive out of it growth, maturity, just breaking through to a new plane. And that's
Mm-hmm.
what we want to do here. This is what we do these challenges for. This is how we get it in. And so stay tuned. I'm buckled up. I hope y'all buckled up. We're gonna go in with this. The challenge is on.
Yes, sir. Truth be told, I just was displaying my screen for my computer, and there's a conversion. We did a sound check for Rico Sundays just moments ago, and it's finalizing so I can get a sound check and see what it sounds like to the audience. So we went from a podcast earlier today to Rico Sunday sound check for 45 minutes to this podcast. And like pod. I was, I was, I was about to call you pod.
That's all right. I have a bunch of monikers out here, so
like like
I'll take
Pat
it all
said.
with a grain of salt. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, like Pat said, I was up at 4 o'clock this morning writing, in which I started a challenge myself. Um, 10 days, 10 pages of screenplay writing, which is not an easy task at all. You know, um, I think I came up with less than 4,000 words in those 2 days, but we're going to see what we come up with in these 10-day challenges of. Um, okay, we finalized multitasking here as we're podding. My Zoom finalized, but yeah, we definitely we have challenges galore, and we want to challenge ourselves and challenge the audience as well. You know.
Yes, absolutely. That's why we do the no fry challenge. That's why we do the self challenges. Like
Mm-hmm.
I did even more. I decided to cut out the steaks, red meat. That's gone this month as well. And so,
Mm-hmm.
we're just working the plays and getting ourselves in shape. Um, that's just what we're doing. We're doing all of this at once because this is the year. This is the year that your vibration has to go higher. It
Mm-hmm.
has to go higher. And how do you do that? You got to consistently get yourself outside of the comfort zone in order to really feel that sense of elevation.
Mm-hmm.
Because do the things that you're afraid to do. Never step back, but step forward. You understand what I'm saying? And we're going to get it together. We're going to get it together one step at a time. And I'm excited about it. It's only the second month of the year, y'all. And
Mm-hmm.
the things that we've been able to accomplish in the short amount of time, I know that it's something that can rub off on others. And I believe that it's going to be something that everybody can benefit from. Everybody
Mm-hmm.
can benefit from because not only can we do it, but you guys can do it as well.
Right. We and definitely we need to be strong in numbers. You know what I'm saying? I was looking at a post. There was a Keystone game where I believe Young Chief scored 50 points. I believe pretty close to 50 points. And a lot of people were saying, I would like to be watching, you know, this Keystone or any other type of sports. Like, I'm, I'm making it plain right now. We have our own platform, we have our
Yes,
own TV channel. If you would like to see your content, be it podcast, be it talk show, be it sports events, holla at your boys. We definitely
absolutely.
we have our community in mind, but worldwide, there's a lot of people tugging at our coats.
Yes,
So,
yes,
um,
yes. A lot of things going on. Too many to say at this moment in time.
mhm,
We're getting to it. We're getting to it, and we're making it happen. And couldn't be more excited about what the future is bringing. And we're at the very forefront of our own frontier. You know,
mhm,
at the very forefront. And these are things that have been manifesting themselves, and now they're coming to fruition. And I hope that everybody just sticks in with us and becomes a part of this movement because you don't want to miss the boat. This is an old cliche saying. You do
mhm.
not want to miss the boat. And this boat is definitely getting ready to pull out of the docks. So make sure you get on board. Make sure you're logging in and you're locking in because
Mhm.
we're coming with a vigor this year and a reestablishment. Like I said on one of my posts a few days ago, we're
Mhm.
going to establish what it means to be a man of respect. You know,
Absolutely.
we have this desire to reestablish things, because in the recent times, I have to admit that you know the men have taken a step back, and it seems
Mhm.
like women have taken a forefront, and that's cool. You know,
Mhm.
that's cool because I salute that as well. I big it up, but I think for balance, I think we have to reestablish some type of order because it gets looked at sometimes that we're not stepping up to the plate and handling our business. When in reality, in all actuality, you got guys like myself, the Mellow Man PDC. You know what I mean? And
Mhm.
we're doing it. We're doing it, and we're setting the bar and setting the tone once again. And I
Mhm.
hope that everybody just gravitates off of that and travel through the Milky Way with us because we're going.
We are going.
Oh, what do we
This,
have here?
this is a great picture. Speaking of women, I just thought I would ride your coattail talking about women. You see black women, you see white women. They are winding coils. This is General Electric, Erie, Pennsylvania. Um,
Yes.
they're winding coils, and uh, they took a stand, and this was probably the late 50s, early 60s. But when it comes to Erie corporations, General Electric and Erie Insurance are by far the leaders of industry in the city of Erie. And you see how far back the history goes with this picture of women working together, and not just sitting at home cooking meals. They are in General Electric making some good money. But
Hmm.
we definitely, being Black History Month, we've been showing photos from a book that shows a lot of the businesses from 1900, even some are 1800. We're going to be I show a picture every day for Black history. And there was times that I rejected the Black History title, like, you want to give us the shortest month. But I said, moving forward, I'm going to take full advantage of it and show some people. Over the last couple of weeks, I posted the Frenchman that started Lacoste, black
Ah,
guy.
yes.
You can't find any pictures of his mom. His dad is white, but you can't find any pictures of his mom on the internet. But
Mm.
he not only was a seven-time uh, tennis pro champion, but he actually invented the tennis machine that shoots out the balls. He
Oh,
invented
wow.
that,
Oh,
and he
wow.
invented the metal tennis racket.
Mm.
So let's,
Now that's saying something without saying nothing.
absolutely. What do they say? Say less. But
Say less.
yeah,
Say
we're taking
less. That's right on
full
point.
advantage of Black history, and we're putting our people in the mix. And
Yes.
speaking of in the mix, the third head to the four-headed uh, giant, the content kings, introducing once again today, Antho, chasing chickens. What you got going, good brother? He is in the building.
Yes, he is.
He must
Looks
be
like he's
mixing some greens up.
getting fired up for it. But real quickly, before we
Mm-hmm.
get here from Ant, I found an interesting quote and I posted it today. It was from Angela Davis. And if you don't know who Angela Davis is, I think you should do some research. But she said, when black women win victories, it is a boost for virtually every segment of society. Once again, when black women win victories, it is a
Mm-hmm.
boost for virtually every segment of society. That was Angela Davis. And
Mm.
so, uh, timely quote, big ups to all the women in the world, of all colors. But in
Mm-hmm.
particularly, since it's Black History Month, I definitely wanted to shed some light and give a shout out to our black women out there holding it down, being strong,
Mm.
elevating, and leveling up.
Absolutely. At the beginning of this podcast, I wanted to share a post that I posted, and by no means um, was it a shot at women, but this is a opportunity for women to actually see what's on men's mind.
Yeah,
You know,
teachable moment, if you will.
yeah, I hear a lot of women saying, "I wear what I wear for me," and I
Mm.
mean, just the natural way things go. Men attract women, women attract men, and there's certain, like, for example, men go to the barbershop for women. They want their hair to be cut looking good so women can say he looks good coming out the barbershop.
Hmm.
Men put on cologne to attract women. You're not going to put on a stank cologne that women don't like, because they won't like you. So It's just basic. But we were just trying to get women to listen to more of what the voice of what men are saying. So don't take it offensive.
Absolutely.
I was going
Absolutely.
I was going to post, but being it's Black History Month, and I don't want it to damper any mood that we have right now. We have good vibe, good energy, but
That's
women,
right.
don't take that post personally. Please don't.
No, 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 not at all, because it's a teachable moment, like I said before. Um, you know, I may have even said some things that could have potentially offended people, but it wasn't meant to offend. It was meant for you to understand,
Correct.
what's on our minds. That's all. What's on our minds, and how can we, bridge that gap? How
Yes,
can we
we
bridge this gap?
we
But the
we care
best way
about you,
is,
lady.
yes, indeed, and the more that you understand how we think, the better off things are going to be.
Hmm.
And what we're thinking about, and what we're discussing and delineating, is to give you an idea of what our thoughts are,
Hmm.
and because if you want to be brutally honest, we see a lot of your thoughts on a regular and consistent basis on social media itself. It's always men don't do this and men don't do that, but in order to create some balance, and it's not like we're going to post this every single day, but we had to put it out there one time so you guys could get a better perspective, because it should only take one post for people
Hmm.
to really understand what it is, and so I was glad that the Mellow Man put it out there, and that was really on point. Thank you for that, because it gave
Hmm.
us an opportunity to
Hmm.
to to say what's been on our mind,
Hmm.
and based off of our experiences, we needed to understand these things. You know what I
Right.
mean? We needed to understand these things. So
Yeah, we're not big fans of the uh, super long eyelashes. You can put some eyelashes on, accent with your look, but you guys remember Snuffleupagus?
oh yeah.
Snuffy.
Oh
Snuffy,
yeah.
Snuffy was a guy, but he had some luscious lashes, didn't
Oh, very much so.
he? I
Very
think
much
some of
so.
them, yeah, some people kept that in mind when they were getting dressed and say, "I want to look like Snuffy today." You know?
Hmm.
But definitely, on a serious tip, ladies, pay attention to what men like, and let's all get along.
Let's all get along.
Yeah. Yeah, but
Let's all get along.
I'm actually looking for an intern, and I would prefer it be a lady, you know, for some of the things that are entailed. Not saying that, well, I think the intuition of a woman, they're a lot more intuitive than us as men. So,
In
what,
certain retrospects, I do believe that, and I agree. In certain aspects, if you will. So I'm in agreement with that, man. I think that the women, bring a lot of insight that we do not bring in, if you will. I think that it's also important to make sure that we talk about inclusion. You know what I mean? Because we want everyone to have a vibe of inclusion. If it gets to a point where we can include each other in our own vibes, in our own situations, I think we'll be a lot better off going into things. We need to be able to include everybody. It can't just be a one-sided thing and another sided thing. Those are the things that I kind of have an issue with when it comes to us, because we try to eliminate the other side, when really it takes all of us. As they say, it takes a village to raise a child, but it takes all of us to reverse the game, if you will, to come back to a common ground. Because that's what we really need at the end of the day. We need to be able to put differences to the side and still be able to work together. Now, I'm not saying it happens for everybody, and it's not meant to happen for everybody. But I can guarantee you this: it's important for us to be as inclusive as we possibly can be, going further down the road. And if we understand more of what each other like and what we don't like, we'll be much better off and much better down the road. Like some of the comments on the post were just teachable moments. They were just teachable moments. Now we did put a sensational picture of a woman with eyelashes up there, and it was sensational, but at the
Mhm.
same time it was important because we want you guys to know that we don't necessarily approve of certain things that you think that we approve of. And as a
Mhm.
matter of fact, on a whole scale, it's probably the opposite of what you're thinking. You know, one thing I saw a lot was attitudes, loudmouth, uh,
Mhm.
non-communication. You know, it's really, like, smoking cigarettes,
Mhm.
uh, things of that nature, or smoking your Black and Milds, or you
Mhm.
know, lacking class, being deceitful.
Mhm.
All these things are things that we need an adjustment on as a whole. So even though we don't like that about women, we can also say the same thing about ourselves. And we do want to elevate, and we want to be higher vibration. So being inclusive, once again,
Mhm.
is the move. It's the move. And I think that if we start addressing these things in a more civil manner like we have been, I think that that's the thing I did get from the guys. It wasn't
Mhm.
overly, sensational. I think it was just, some of them, most of them were just one sentence, one
Mhm.
sentence that could sum it up for them. And in the accumulation of all that, I think that we
Mhm.
really, yeah, there it is right there, as you can see,
Mhm.
put that up there, and it was just something that we wanted to be a teachable moment,
Mhm.
not necessarily a moment to bash or downgrade or degrade, but to kind of like be a teachable moment to say, hey, you know what God blessed you with is sufficient
Mhm.
enough. It's
Yep.
sufficient enough. We don't have to have extra sensationalized look. All we
Mhm.
need you to be is yourself. And not only that, but be respectful, as we all should be to each other. Be
Mhm.
respectful, be a peaceful, environment,
Mhm.
things that are very simple. These are not things that cost a dime. They don't cost
Nothing.
anything. All it
That-
takes for you to be is just cool, peaceful. We already deal with enough hectic stuff outside of our own people as it is. The
Mhm.
last thing that we need is strife and dissension, with our significant others or people that we're involved with. All it takes is calming down and understanding a lot more. Because when the elevation of the levels are raised, that's not going to bring things to a common ground. It's going to keep things, it's either going to raise this up and it's going to raise this up, and we don't get nowhere that way. And it's quite proven amongst history that we don't get nowhere that way. So we have to find better ways to communicate. We got to find better ways to include. Include, once again, that word inclusion
Mhm.
is very, very important. So, that's my take on things, you know what I'm saying? And I believe we can get it together, but it starts with us. It starts with us first. It starts with ourselves. We have to take a stern look in the mirror and say, hey, look, this is what I'm about. This is what I am not about. And we're going to continue to press on and continue to find ways to create inclusion on those levels.
Absolutely. When you say it starts with us, um, tap us on the shoulder as well, and let us
Yes.
know your preferences, things that are not so pleasant in your eyes. What we do.
And when you do such, uh, try to be non-transparent. And I gotta say that because there's a way to say everything. It's not necessarily what you're saying; it's how you go about saying it. And if you're saying it with transparency, coming in a peaceful manner, and learning how to talk with respect, because respect is being shown to you, I think you get a lot further down the road. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Because, like I said, the turned up attitude, defiance, things of that nature do not solve anything. Um, if anything, it brings us this much further apart and this much further apart, and it keeps going and it goes in opposite directions. But if we can get a clear conscience and get ourselves together, then that's exactly what we need to do.
For
And I
sure.
think that it's important. We got to bring ourself back before we can bring ourselves back.
Bars, bars. That sounds like the next song you're about to write for tomorrow.
Actually, the song is actually on Social Threshold on my album.
Yeah, yeah.
The
I
song is
kind of
called
figured.
"Bring Ourself Back,"
Mm-hmm.
and it's very important. I actually put it at the end of the project purposely because I dissected a lot of the problems, but "Bring Ourself Back" is actually a solution to the problems, and that's where it begins. It starts with that.
Mm-hmm.
We have to get back in touch with the good parts of us, and allow that to be a beacon
Mm-hmm.
towards getting us to a better vibration, a higher vibration. Um,
Indeed.
I think that that's one of the big keys right there.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm very glad that we got a chance to talk about that.
For sure. And let's talk about these hoodies. Um, these hoodies are actually part of the Valentine's Day drop. We got them in red, we got them in white, we got them in pink, and till midnight, I'm giving you guys a chance to buy a hoodie and get a free book signed by none other than myself,
The
Logic.
Mellow Man,
Yes, sir.
you see it on there. You see it.
What a deal! Buy a hoodie, get a legendary book for free, signed. I write on it whatever you want me to write on it.
Absolutely, absolutely. And this is how we do. And this is how
So
we do.
I.
Make sure you're supporting. If
Mm-hmm.
you have not got a chance to read the book, it is an excellent read, and we really hope that you guys move forward with that and grab a copy. Grab a copy today. You know what I'm
Sure.
saying? You get incentives to grab the copy, but most importantly for your reading because reading is very important. Just so you guys know, it's still the primary way that we educate ourselves. We have to read. We have to read, and if we read, we begin to understand. And once we begin to understand, then things start coming together for us a lot better. I try not to. I make it a point to. If anybody ever asks me a question, I want to make sure that I've done the research before I answer it correctly. And if I don't know the answer, then I will take the time out, Google it, and we'll look it up together so we know the accurate answer instead of just pulling something out of the air and saying that we think that we know. We need to actually know these things. And so that's one thing that you will get from me. If we ever have a conversation, I'm quite knowledgeable, but at the same time, I don't have a problem researching things right on the spot and giving you the accurate and correct answer. We can go by people's world experience, but everybody's experience is different. But if we actually do some factual research, we begin to understand things a lot more and how it affects us individually and collectively.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I think this just goes to show you um, how much we really care about the Super Bowl. Nah, seriously, we
No,
we
no, I
we
see
gonna
that. I know it's about to be kickoff, so
we gonna give our takes on it. I mean, I'm 5-1. I don't like to actually do predictions because it doesn't look good on the replay. You know what I mean?
yes, I.
But we do our due diligence and we don't just get up and flap our gums. We dig deep and we get answers and we hold ourselves to every single podcast. If I don't say one thing that makes you say this is definitely an Arsenio Hall moment. We definitely want to things to make you say all the time.
All the
Ex-
time, all the time.
Exercise the mind.
And
That's what
if it may not affect you right away, it may throw you off right away. But once you get a chance to really ingest and think and process, you'll start to come to an understanding that it's somebody actually trying to tell you something right, as opposed
Hmm.
to telling you something that has no value, that's no
Hmm.
spiritual food, that's no mental
For
food.
sure.
It's really important because not
Hmm.
everybody is here to deceive. Not everybody is here to throw you throw you over the bus, throw you under the bus,
Hmm.
excuse me.
Hmm.
um yeah. So and I think it's really important for us to understand that as well. So
For sure. I had and not to throw anybody under the bus, but we're here for understanding. That's what we're here, or overstanding, whichever way you want to look at it. I've had a few people say, What does RICO actually mean?" So a lot of people want to associate it with gang activity, but actually, if you purchase the book, you'll see in the first chapter of the RICO verdict, it discusses a situation where Donald Trump had a RICO case, and $25 million later, he was the president. So it's, racketeering influence, corrupt organizations. It's not just, and actually, it was something that was instilled around John Gotti's era. These mobsters were so slick and they were so overbearing on the whole city or region that they're in, they had to find a way to actually capture them. But there's been RICO cases with the Hells Angels, there's been RICO cases with uh, Donald Trump. Presently, Young Thug is locked up under a RICO case. There's a local, I'm not sure if you guys know about Sauce Walker, you know, his group,
indeed.
the Sauce Factory, they're indicted right now for RICO. And, it goes further than just, those were gang activities with the Sauce Factory and Young Thug and them, but it goes beyond like gang activity. You know what I'm saying? So, another question about the book and what what actually will it have for me? What am I
Hmm.
going to get out of reading your book? And
Hmm.
my answer always is going to be there is a mission statement you should have with whatever project you're working on, whatever company you're with, it has a mission statement. So
Yes.
my literary mission statement is freeing oppressed minds with the literary pen, which means we have people who are incarcerated who have stories they need to tell. I went out to Vegas for 4 years straight, got an MBA in publishing. So, who else would you want to help you write a book besides me?
There you go. There you go.
Hmm.
And that's very, very important for you to know that. But just to backtrack and pedal back just a little bit, for those of the audience that never understood RICO, because you've heard the word, but you may not understand exactly what RICO means. It is Racketeer Influenced and Corrupt Organizations Act, and it's a United States federal law that provides for extended criminal penalties and a civil cause of action for acts performed as a part of an ongoing criminal organization. Okay.
Hmm.
Yes, a criminal organization, what they consider criminal, it is an extended penalty when you're involved in such a situation. And I'm pretty sure that they try to use data to compile. They try to use evidence, witnesses. I'm sure there's a lot of key things, but if you get into Podgy's book, you'll begin to understand what situations like these entail because
Hmm.
it's very comprehensive. It gets you to the meat and bones of things. And
Right.
that's what we really need. We need to get down to the meat and bones of these examples so we understand, and like I said, with understanding what RICO actually is, now you do know. You know what I'm
Hmm.
saying? Now you're in the know. And this is what we mean by you know, understanding things from it can be considered remedial, but in certain
Mm-hmm.
cases there's a lot of people that don't even know what, when people get RICO'd, they're probably like, well, what is RICO?
Mm-hmm.
And we want to bring you the truth, the tangibles, and so you understand it clearly, you know. And
Mm-hmm.
that's where we're at with it.
Yeah, the chips are stacked against you if you're doing anything illegally. Um, I actually had a chance to watch Boardwalk Empire, and if you're really into gangster stuff, like I don't. When you hear Scarface, you think of Tony Montana. You think of Scarface the movie. Scarface actually was a real person. His name was Alphonse Capone out of Brooklyn. He actually went and murdered the whole south side of Chicago and took over. This guy single handedly was making $100 million from behind bars in the Cook County Jail. So then, um, Alcatraz, they had to find a jail where there's no communication, so they built Alcatraz for people like him, you know. But I had my own look at marketing, the RICO verdict marketing, and I had a marketing specialist say, "Well, what's the book about?" I said, "Well, 95% of it takes place in the courtroom." And this marketing guy who had 20, 30 years of marketing and Hollywood connects and all that, he said, if you can pull that off, you're good. You're good, because I just don't see someone wanting to read a whole court case. So this, we're talking 2016, 2017. Come 2019, there's a TV show on CBS called All Rise, a black judge with cases, and that's all the show was about. 2020 comes For Life, Curtis Jackson's depiction of a real life situation, a guy who was running a club, somebody within the ranks of working his employees was doing illegal stuff. He gets caught up in it. He was not guilty, but he went to jail for it. So he had to learn the law from behind bars, and he learned it so well he was helping other people get out of jail, and he also represented himself and got himself out. So that's what we call freeing oppressed minds with the literary pen. That's what we're here to do.
Mm. And on a somber note, this just in, for those who are hip hop historians and true hip hop heads, um, the gentleman known as True Goy from De La Soul has just passed away.
3 feet high and rising.
So rest in peace to True Goy. For those who know De La Soul's legacy, he is not plug one, but he is plug two. So that just came down on my wire. We try to bring you the latest and up to date of the news out here. And he was 54 years old.
Mm.
Yeah, and the details are scarce right now. They said that he was struggling with his health, over the past few years. He had congestive heart failure, and in 2018, he had put that out there that he had a congestive heart failure. And
Hmm.
so, you know, and it was sidelining him, But rest in peace to True Goy, Plug Two. Um, it's unfortunate. A lot of our hip hop heroes are passing away. They're at that age now, and that's another reason why we try to tell people to take care of themselves. It's really,
Yeah.
really important.
Yep. I
To
would
take care
say
of yourself.
over the past 3 years, And we're
Oh,
back.
there you go.
Yeah, over the past 3 years, I know of at least 10 people who passed away under the age of 50, and not necessarily to gun violence, to
No,
negligence of um, a 1 year checkup. You need to go to the dentist once a year, sometimes twice a year. You can get things, you know, in your teeth and in your gums that can cause heart issues. We really need to, love on ourselves. Um, we can't do drugs when we're diabetic. We can't do drugs with heart issues. We can't drink with, all of these um, underlying issues and just ignore what the doctor says. We can't do that.
this is very true, and it's sobering when we hear of guys like, Plug Two passing away, and it does put it in perspective and it does hit home. But he is absolutely right. Most importantly, do research on how to live healthier. It's very important for us to understand that we need to learn how to live healthier. We need to learn how to, you know, if you will, eat to live, exercise. All these things are very, very important things, and we need to stay focused on that.
Hmm.
I even came to my rectifying and realizing about 4 or 5 years ago, I realized I wasn't in that great of health myself. I was about 300 pounds, and you can see me today that I'm no longer that
Hmm.
size. I had to take proactive steps to get myself back into a state of health, and we're even doing more so now. That's why we do these challenges and things of that nature. And so it's really, really, really sobering when you hear of people passing away like that. But it also puts it in perspective that we have to take care of us, and we have to start doing the best that we possibly can to look after our health.
True indeed. It's sad to watch people just lose limbs and in the prime of your life, you know, lose toes, lose feet, lose limbs, and being a diabetic actually is reversible. Dr. Sebi was a diabetic. Dr. Sebi had hypertension. He had a few other underlying issues that he went to the extreme. He fasted for 45 days, which I don't recommend. He fasted for 45 days and took on a whole new um, thought process. We're doing 30-day challenges, but this is actually life changes. You have to start
Absolutely.
30 days at a time because that's the recommended time that it takes to break any habit. 30 days. That's why you see these 30-day challenges.
That's why
But
we're doing them.
hmm and your
Absolutely.
mind will, your mind will be ever so clear. You'll be able to. Dr. Sebi actually, with the iron that he had in his body from the spinach and everything, in his 70s, close to 80s, he was still making children. And I saw him a couple of times bounce down on the sidewalk on his knees and pop right back up. Being no mucus in your joints, that's we get older, we have mucus throughout our body that acts as a host for these diseases to come in. But if you have mucus in your joints, your motion is going to be stunted. You're going to be in pain the older you get. So eating foods with no mucus in them is a no-brainer.
No brainer. No brainer. And I think it's really important for us to do research on that level as well. It's
Hmm.
very, very important for us to do that type of stuff. And I think that the more that we know, the more that we grow. The more we know, the more that we grow.
And the more we can show you guys, the route to take is actually, we talked about it when we started the challenge. You have natural foods, you have unnatural foods, and then you have supernatural foods. You want to stay in the natural foods, not box container stuff, and it's not an easy task, but shopping at your local grocery mart, and you, I go every 3 days when I get a chance because I want natural food that's still alive to put into my body.
Absolutely,
You,
absolutely. And the more that we become aware of that as a people, the better off that we're going to be. I think
hmm
nutrition is important, exercise is important,
hmm
water intake is important. A lot of these things, we have to kind of like, get into the habit. Like Paji said, it takes roughly 30 days, but you'll start to understand what a habit is after probably 10 days. Once you reach day number 10, you begin to start understanding what it was that wasn't right.
hmm
And you start to have a better desire to correct those things. And so we're just going to keep plugging away at it. And I think that that's just what it is. But yeah, boy,
hmm
what a sad day in hip hop. Plug two from De La Soul has passed away.
True Goy. I actually, and just recently they just got the masters.
They just recently got their master. It's mighty ironic because that's the same
hmm
thing that happened to Prince. Prince had just recently acquired his masters, and then I think months after that, he
hmm
passed away.
Yep, I had a chance to conversate with Prince Paul. He was on Lord Sears show on Sirius XM, and I had a couple questions, and Lord Sear kind of, I think he tried to sun me, but I'm like, I was asking about the Masters, which they were trying to get at the time. This was a couple years ago, so this questions things that you see online is nothing new. I posted the last couple weeks conversations I've had with Big Ange from Mob Wives, uh, Charlie Baltimore, and Trick Trick, who Charlie actually
Detroit in the
was
house.
was supposed, yes, the Big D. So we actually Charlie Baltimore was supposed to be there at that event. That was his girlfriend at the time, even though he was married to Faith and messing with Kim. That was his girl, Charlie Baltimore. And I asked him what was the last thing that Big said to her, and she said actually the last thing he said was through um, flowers and a card, that once she went back to her, she works on the weekend like we do. She went to the office and saw the flowers and the card and just reacted in a way where she just couldn't deal with it. She left and somebody stole the card, so she never got to see the last thing that Big said to her.
Oh wow,
But
that's ironic.
ironic. But definitely we've been on this. That was like 10 years ago.
That
You
was
know,
a
I,
while ago.
yeah, I got a chance to ask Pete Rock what was his top three producers, and even Heather B was like, Podgy with the serious questions. But he said Dilla, Molly Mall, and Premier. That was his top three.
Interesting, very interesting indeed. But yes, indeed, we have so many things to cover in the days coming too, man. Like,
Oh yeah.
yeah, yeah. Life goes on, and we must continue these conversations. And we're
hmm
going to revisit at the end of this month how everybody did, and we want everybody to stay subscribed to the channel, stay logged in, stay tapped in, so you guys can give us some feedback on how the 28 days did benefit to you.
hmm
How well were you able to stick with it? Because I don't expect everybody to, adhere to it every single day of the challenge, but the challenge was to see how well we could. And I think that that's the most important thing.
For sure. I had a handful of home fries yesterday. Just walking past the stove and just grabbed a handful of
Oh, there it
home
is.
fry, and it was in my mouth before I thought about it. I was like, this is fried, but like Pat said, in moderation. We're not asking you to become a devout, religious, not non-fried religious person, but we
No,
definitely want you to be understanding what a balance can do. You might
right,
give yourself a cheat day. You know what I mean? But
right.
don't don't cheat all your life.
No, no, not at all, not at all. And the hope is that we start to think, act, and respond in a healthier fashion. And a lot of it starts with what we're putting inside. And
Hmm.
we talk about this from time to time. I know at least I do. I've been on a mission to start channeling from the inside out instead
Hmm.
of the outside in. So we have to remember what we're putting on the inside eventually comes out of us. And so, as we learn these philosophies, we learn how to intake food. We learn how to be balanced. Oh, and it's about that time.
Speaking of balance,
It's about
uh,
that time. A balanced attack from
this
the
this the city of New Balance.
absolutely the other side of the state.
Yeah.
Um, we're from Western PA, and the Eagles are way on the east side,
Hmm.
as far east as you pretty much can get,
Hmm.
is where Philadelphia is, and
Shout out to the ball.
absolutely, you know what I'm saying? The John and the Mall.
The John.
Oh, yeah,
E-
absolutely.
Erie Avenue.
Erie Avenue is out there, you
Yes,
know.
sir.
Shout out to Canal Street.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, oh yeah. That's where I get my chew sticks and
Oh yeah.
incense and all that other good stuff.
Hmm.
So the guys out there, the Akis out there. Shout out to y'all.
Yes. Shout out to the legendary Boys to Men. Nobody in history in R&B will catch their records.
Absolutely not. And that's one thing that most people do not recognize nor understand. They look at Boys to Men like they were a fad, but still, the the accomplishments that they've had over their course of time were monumental, and they're right here from the great state of Pennsylvania.
Pennsylvania.
Absolutely, absolutely. Well, Podge, I think we did about an hour of power here today, man.
We did. We got a solid hour. We're gonna bring in the tail end. 30 minutes till kickoff. It's an exciting day. Can't wait to see Riri at halftime. Can't wait to
Absolutely.
see my guy Jalen Hurt holding up that trophy.
Yes, and
Uh,
I know you guys gave your predictions earlier today, but I'm going to give mine now.
okay.
I believe it's going to be a tight contest, but I have the Eagles edging the Kansas City Chiefs in a barn burner. I know it can go either way, but I believe that the defense of the Eagles is just too stout and too cohesive, if you will, too
Yeah.
cohesive.
And
It just works as a well-oiled machine. And don't get me wrong, Kansas City has a very formidable defense themselves, but
mhm.
they can be scored on, and they can be scored on in a fashion that is uncanny. But the Eagles themselves have a boy, the up front guys, the front
Mhm.
four, the front four
75
may be,
sacks plus.
yeah, the front four may be one of the most dominant defensive lines that I've probably ever seen. And so
Mhm.
that's why I give the edge to the Eagles. And plus, they are offensively powerful. As opposed to the Chiefs, they have a strong running game, which is
Mhm.
something going to be necessary in the waning moments of today's contest. So I give a slight edge to the Eagles today.
Mhm. You got a point differential.
You know what? It's going to be one thing that I can't trip myself up on.
Mhm.
But I'm thinking at the very most of the gap, it's going to be a 14-point swing.
Mhm.
Um, but at the very least, it could be as very little as 2 points. So it's
Okay.
kind of
Well,
hard for me to tell, but I think somewhere between that gap is
earlier, Antho had the Eagles by 7, and I had the Eagles by 6. That's why I was asking to see where your mindset was at. But
I'm
speaking
going to
of
give it. I'm going to give it the Eagles. If we really have to get down to the finite, I'm going to give the Eagles by 9.
Eagles by 9, okay. Now, speaking of the cohesiveness, I want to jog your memory for the playoffs. Um, there was a fourth and down. I believe it was the last game for the Eagles, and the offensive line, they formed a bridge for hurt. Did you see that?
I saw the bridge.
They laid down.
They absolutely did. It was an interesting tactic, and you don't see that too often from an offensive line. And
No,
it
not
could be
immediately.
it's a tricky move because you could easily get a penalty for chop blocking if you don't
Hmm.
execute that properly. But
Or
they
you
did,
could get your quarterback mobbed
or you
because
could
you're
get them
laying
off.
so low.
Yeah, that's another thing that could happen as well. But they did execute it, and they executed it well, and it's well practiced. You could tell that the team does practice at a high octane level, and they're using a lot of IQ out there on the football field because it is a chess match. And so we shall see how it all unfolds here
Yes,
shortly.
it's definitely game time. I'm excited about it. Not so much. I'm a big football fan. I played football. I love football as a kid, but the politics that comes with the NFL. The last time the Eagles won the Super Bowl, I was in jeopardy of not participating. What was going on in the league, I really could care less if I watched the game. And we were in the Super Bowl,
Yeah,
so
absolutely, man. Absolutely.
so
Well, it will
so
be an exciting contest, and I can't wait to see
yeah,
how it
the Brother
unfolds.
Bowl.
The Brother Bowl.
Yeah,
Yep,
two brothers at
significantly.
quarterback and a brother on each team playing against each other. Same mama,
Surely,
same daddy.
surely, surely. That's quite a feat within itself, and it's a rarity. We don't see it too often in professional sports, but we will see it today.
Absolutely. And we may tap in at halftime just to say hi to y'all. And you know, I'm gonna keep this hat on, fly Eagles fly, no matter what happens. We
Yeah, I'm
look.
not too big on football. As a matter of fact, I'm looking into some tickets to go watch a Penguins game
Mm-hmm.
sometime, possibly this month or
Yeah.
next month as a birthday present to myself.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, Another year is about to come upon me,
Oh
and
yeah. What day is that?
that would be the 11th of March. I am a Pisces. I'll be 51 in March.
Oh,
And
right around Biggie's death anniversary.
absolutely, absolutely.
Greatest
And shout
rapper of
out to
all
all my
time.
Pisces out there. It's about to be our season in a few
Yes.
weeks. So, looking into, some Penguins tickets, possibly even in the spring, looking at some soccer because I got a lot in with the tournament, this past tournament. So,
Mm-hmm.
I'm looking forward to seeing some live soccer and a couple of different things. And of course, my favorite season, one of my favorites is baseball, and it's coming right around the corner. And
Loving
our,
it.
our boy Andrew McCutcheon has finally returned to the Steel City, and it's going to
Okay.
be a interesting time. Don't be surprised. I may do a theme song.
Mm.
Who knows? Stay tuned.
Tap in.
Tap in and tap. Don't tap out.
Don't get tapped out.
Don't get tapped out. There you go.
Well, definitely. Living here in Houston, being an Astros fan, we're the current uh, champions of the MLB, and for the Eagles to bring home another championship, I'm feeling that.
It would
Uh,
feel like a very good
yep,
time. Yeah.
my Buckeyes came close. We finished fourth in college football, so
Yes,
it's been
sir.
a great year for sports for
Been
us.
a great year for sports. Can
Yeah,
definitely say that.
but you speaking on soccer, the World Cup is going to be right here in Houston. Be a couple years, but LFX Media will be on site for sure for the World Cup. We're getting
And you
ready
don't want
right
to miss
now.
the next one. If you missed this last one, boy, was it a great tournament.
We're getting our media passes together, and we're figuring out how we're going to maneuver for the World Cup. And
Absolutely.
And on the hockey tip, that's the only team we don't have here. We have 4 professional teams. We have the Cosmos, which is the soccer team, professional, and right across the freeway from the Cosmos, we have the Houston Astros in Minute Maid Park. And then you go downtown, you got the Toyota Center that houses the Houston Rockets. And a little bit further on the loop, you have Energy Center where the Houston Texans just hired a black coach. We're going to see what happens there. But LFX Media is going to be on the scene everywhere. That's what we do.
Absolutely.
Yep. So we want to we really appreciate you guys that come out and pay attention to our content. We appreciate you on Facebook. We appreciate you on YouTube. We appreciate you on our own platform, lfxmedia.live. We are the content kings, along here with the custom beat king, the Mellow PDC.
The Mellow
Definitely,
PDC.
we definitely had a good time with you today. This is our second
Yes, indeed.
podcast. We did a Rico Sunday, and we get ready for the game. I can smell something downstairs. I don't know what the
Oh,
rock.
yeah, there's something brewing around here too. I don't know what it is, but I'll go investigate.
Yes, sir. So yeah, that's all of our time for now. We appreciate you coming out. Um, we have so much content. We could really be podding daily, but getting things together and working is hard to do. You know.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. And plus, you guys need time to ingest these broadcasts and make sure you're watching them and streaming them and restreaming. And we'll keep hitting you guys with as much as we can give you.
Let them float around. Let them float around. But definitely, I'm gonna give you a peek one more time before we leave, because this is the return of Rico Sunday. We actually have a Valentine's Day drop of hoodies, fire hoodies. I must say, fire hoodies. Buy a hoodie, get a book up until midnight tonight. You don't have to be in Rico Sunday. I dropped the link inside the comments, the ricoverdict.com.co. Also go to Custom Beat King if you need beats. If you want to learn how to make beats,
Absolutely.
we got Beat Talk, the actual podcast by the Custom
Yes,
Beat
indeed.
King.
The new season will be in effect this year, and we'll be having a variety of people on, not just people in music, but we're going to be talking with the common folk as well.
Mm-hmm.
And we're really going to shape this thing around and talk about beats and how they relate to life.
Absolutely. So we definitely want to thank you guys for coming out. This is Podgy Carter, LFX Media, signing off. And if you didn't know, now you know. See you next show.
Peace.